You work 8 hours a day. Then you clock out. You pick up your phone. You think you are free. What if I told you? You never really clocked out. You just got a new boss. One far more demanding than your company. Your employer buys 8 hours. This one wants everything that is left. You are not resting. You are still at work. Only this job has no contract, no pay, no clock out time. Your new employer is called Meta TikTok, YouTube. Together, they go by a more accurate name, the Attention Industrial Complex. Every great resource war in human history, land, oil, gold, rubber, is over. Capital found one last unconquered frontier, not Antarctica, not the deep sea, your mind. This isn't a metaphor. Every swipe, every pause, every flicker of emotion, mined, refined, packaged, and sold in real time, and you haven't seen a cent. In our last video on the economics of luxury, we said, luxury brands sell you an illusion of identity. What we're talking about today is crueler than that. At least the luxury brand gave you a handbag. Here, you are the product being sold. Welcome to the economics of attention. Let's start with a name, Herbert Simon, 1971. He wrote, "A wealth of information creates a poverty of attention." That line gets quoted so often. It sounds like common sense now. It isn't common sense. It is an alarm. And no one was listening when it went off. The real question is, who is manufacturing that wealth, and who profits from your poverty? We've been taught a story. You are the user. You get free services, entertainment, information, fair exchange. That is one of the most successful marketing narratives of the 20th century. Now flip it over. You are not the user. You are the raw material. The advertiser is the actual customer. Every action you think of as leisure is being priced in real time. Stay on a video for more than 3 seconds. Add a cent. Show an emotional reaction. Add 3 cents. Go back and rewatch a clip. Add 5 cents. Tilt your phone at the angle that says you are lying in bed, not at a desk. That data point commands a premium rate. That is the actual logic of Meta's advertising auction system. These prices fluctuate by the second. In an exchange you will never see. Congratulations, you might be worth 3 cents. Your attention is the crude oil of our era. You paid for the electricity. You paid for the data plan. You paid for the device. You built the pipeline yourself and then invited them to pump it. This process follows a very standard 3-step colonization playbook. Step 1. Prospecting. The algorithm tests thousands of content variations against you, mapping the emotional fault lines most likely to crack you open: your anger, your fear, your desire to feel superior. By the end of this phase, it knows you better than you know yourself. Step 2. Extraction. Infinite scroll. Variable rewards. Push notifications. Your time drains out of your life and lands as a number on someone else's balance sheet. Step 3. Refining. You're raw, irreplaceable. This moment of being alive is converted into a clean, predictable, sellable data profile. Your today becomes a lever to manipulate your tomorrow. Your behavior becomes someone else's futures contract. You now know you are being mined. Here is the more unsettling question. Why can't you stop? The standard answer is dopamine. I won't use that word. It has been so overused it starts to sound like a character flaw, like you caught a disease and it is your fault for having a weak immune system. Let me offer something more precise: prediction error. You don't need to memorize the term. Just hold on to one idea. The algorithm doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are not sure you are going to get. Those are completely different worlds. If the algorithm gave you exactly what you love, every time, you'd feel satisfied. Calm, you'd put the phone down and go to sleep. That is the system's worst-case scenario. So it doesn't do that. The algorithm doesn't plan your emotional state. It does one thing. Find whatever keeps you on screen the longest and keep serving it. And what keeps humans on screen the longest? Test after test converges on the same answer: intense emotion, not happiness, not peace. The feeling that makes you need to comment, share, argue, or fire off a link to someone saying you have to see this. Outrage, anxiety, moral shock. Facebook once weighted the angry reaction at several times the value of a standard like. Simple math: angry people stay on the platform longer. When they eventually noticed the whole platform drifting toward extremism, they quietly adjusted the weighting. Nobody is driving this car. The system rewards whatever keeps you there. That is actually harder to fight than deliberate manipulation, because there is no villain to point at. B.F. Skinner ran an experiment. A pigeon, a button, sometimes pressing it released food, sometimes nothing, completely random. He found that the pigeon became more obsessed with that button than pigeons who received food every single time. It would peck until it collapsed from exhaustion. The pull to refresh gesture on your phone is that button. You are that pigeon. Let me put this another way, one that might hit closer to home. Think about a certain kind of relationship. Hot and cold, intense attention one moment, complete silence the next, building dependency through psychological whiplash. The algorithm runs the exact same playbook. It is the most sophisticated emotional manipulator in existence, running its system on you hundreds of times a day, and you don't even know it is there. Here is the evidence. Tristan Harris, former design ethicist at Google. He testified that Instagram once ran an internal test. After users posted, the like count was hidden from everyone else. Only the poster could see it. They found that the suspended uncertainty, that gap of not knowing, amplified both anxiety and anticipation simultaneously. When the number finally appeared, the relief hit that much harder. They saw the data, they knew it would hurt you. They shipped the feature anyway. Not a bug, a feature. Now, I want to talk about the one thing this system is most afraid of you having: boredom. Most people today can barely stand waiting for an elevator without reaching into their pocket. We've almost forgotten. Boredom is a skill. It is the soil that real thought grows from. The most important ideas in human history, the deepest acts of self-examination, nearly all of them emerged from seemingly empty, wasted time. The system is terrified of your boredom, because when you are bored, your attention briefly escapes extraction. Because when you are bored, you might start asking, what am I actually doing with my life? So every gap must be filled. Short videos, breaking alerts, notifications. Not one moment left for you to sit quietly with yourself. A cement mixer, pumping noise into every crack of your inner life. The system isn't afraid of you wasting time. It is afraid of you waking up. Let's stop talking about wasted time. You've heard that 1,000 times. We're calculating a specific invoice. In 2025, the global digital advertising market reached approximately $700 billion. Meta alone from advertising brought in close to $200 billion. This company sells no physical product. The only thing it sells is your time and attention. How much of that $200 billion did you receive? Zero. You can at least put a number on the economic extraction. The harder loss to see is the one that doesn't appear on any invoice, but is worth more than money. First, you've lost depth. Cal Newport calls it deep work. I'd call it something simpler: the ability to hold a single thought for longer than 20 seconds. When did you last finish a long book in one sitting, without once reaching for your phone? When did you last stare out a window for 10 minutes, thinking of nothing in particular, going nowhere? Our neural patterns have been recalibrated to a new baseline, a fresh stimulus every 20 seconds to sustain engagement. Anything slower than that, no matter how good, gets rejected. The book didn't get boring. You lost the ability to enjoy it. Second, you've lost the energy to begin. Every evening you have intentions. Learn something. start a project, have a real conversation with someone you care about. All of it requires one resource: mental reserve, remaining charge. You come home, you tell yourself, just to decompress for a bit. You pick up your phone. 2 hours later, you resurface. Battery 0%. You thought that was rest. What the system actually did was drain your last reserves before you could spend them on anything you chose. You are not lazy. You've been mined so thoroughly, there is nothing left to rebel with. Third, and this is the deepest one, your real experiences are losing their value. We've started to feel that an experience only counts if it is being photographed and shared, that a moment only exists if it is being witnessed. A meal unposted somehow tastes less earned. A view unshared feels somehow incomplete. Your life has to be certified and appraised by the platform before you can register it as real. This is exactly the same logic as our luxury economics episode. Value comes from external validation, not internal experience. Except this time, you are not buying the bag. You are auctioning off your life. Here is the part where I am supposed to give you answers. Let me tell you a story first. In 2011, a television series dramatized all of this before most of it had fully happened. Black Mirror Season 1, Episode 215 Million Merits. The world it depicts looks like the future. It feels like, right now, everyone lives in a cell of rooms. Every wall is a screen. The daily work. Pedaling stationery, bikes to power a vast entertainment system. The ads on those walls are mandatory. Want to skip one? You can if you spend the credits you earned by pedaling. You have to buy back your own undivided attention. The main character, Bing, falls for a woman named Abi who can sing. He spends every credit he owns to buy her an audition on the talent show. The judges aren't interested in her voice. They're interested in her. She is coerced into becoming the face of a pornography channel. Her image now on every screen unavoidable. Bing falls apart. He decides to fight back. He saves for months, hides a shard of broken glass, walks onto that stage, holds the glass up and speaks directly to the camera. This system is consuming you. Your lives are being ground into credits. Your real feelings are entertainment for someone else. Every day you pedal and watch and consume for the sole purpose of pedaling and watching and consuming again. Then they smile. Your anger, they say, is genuinely powerful. Very entertaining. We'd like to give you a show. Bing whined. He got a larger room, no ads, and every week he performed his rage as content for the system. The episode aired in 2011. 14 years later, it isn't a parable anymore. It is a documentary. And it leaves everyone with a question that still hasn't been answered. When a system can turn your resistance into a product, is your clarity still clarity? This is the system's most elegant mechanism. It doesn't need to suppress dissent. It just needs to monetize it. So when someone tells you, just delete the apps, cut back by 1 hour a day, those aren't bad suggestions. Scrolling less, reclaiming boredom, seeing real people, these things are worth doing. But I need to be honest with you about something. This is what Johann wrote in Soul in Focus. Because this machine runs on advertising revenue, on what your time is worth every second, on the fact that keeping you on for one more moment will always be worth more than making your life better. As long as that incentive structure stays intact, engineers will keep optimizing for addiction, not because they're evil, because it is their KPI. Before we talk about what real change looks like, I want to leave you with a more personal question. First, James Williams, former Google strategist, now a philosopher, spent years studying the system before writing. Attention is not the ability to look at things. Attention is the ability to want things. The system's deepest victory isn't stealing 3 hours of your evening. It is that through daily feeding, gradually, quietly, it replaces your goals. It takes away your capacity to want what you truly want. You don't even know what you want anymore. You just know what comes next in the feed. So the first act of waking up isn't putting down your phone. It is asking yourself one question before the algorithm knew you, before all of this content filled every gap in your day. What did you actually want? That answer is the one thing it cannot take from you. So what does real change actually look like? After leaving Google, Tristan Harris spent 10 years doing one thing, not telling people how to be more disciplined, but working to change the incentive structures of tech companies themselves. Pushing for legislation, briefing policymakers. Testifying before Congress, he is not walking that road alone. The EU's Digital Services Act, California's Age, Appropriate Design Code, class action lawsuits targeting addictive design. These are happening, not as personal awakenings, but as political problems. The same way we once treated air pollution, leaded gasoline, and cigarette advertising as political problems. Those issues were also called personal choices, until enough people said, no, this is not a willpower problem. This is a design problem. This doesn't mean you are powerless in the meantime. The personal changes you make, they're not solving the problem. They're how you stay clear-headed while the problem is being solved. Real change requires more people realizing this is not your fault, and then telling someone else in your own words, somewhere the algorithm can't listen. A system's deepest fear is never one being standing on a stage with a piece of broken glass. Its deepest fear is the audience starting to talk to each other. Tristan Harris spent 10 years. Johann traveled the world and interviewed 200 experts. They were both trying to say the same thing. You just heard it in 20 minutes. The next step is yours. At the start of this video, I said, the attention industrial complex has extracted every hour you have outside work. But there is a question we haven't answered. Why don't you have an exit? Because before you became aware of any of this, someone had already fitted you with another lock. Its name is debt. Debt isn't just money you owe a bank. It is the oldest technology the modern economic system has for making sure you show up to work. That is what we're covering next.